Arknights Endfield is finally here, and after spending 2 whole closed betas extensively testing every system, along with accidentally blowing up my factory more times than I can count, I finally made just about every mistake the game has to offer. As a result, today I'm here to help you avoid them, and while Endfield may look similar to other factory builders like Factorio or Satisfactory at first glance, it has several systems that make it fundamentally different. Now, of course, this can feel overwhelming early on, but don't worry, as in today's guide, we'll be covering operators, damage systems, progression, gear, weapons, banners, and most importantly, how to set up your day one so you don't fall behind. Without further ado though, let's get straight into it. Operators do have a lot going on, but for team building, only 2 things really matter early on: their class and their weapon. There are 6 classes in Endfield, and while they all have unique roles, it's much easier to think of characters as either DPS or supports. Supports are generally straightforward and provide buffs, debuffs, or set up combo skills for their allies, but surprisingly, DPS characters are more complicated, with sometimes complex ways to deal damage more efficiently. Every operator, however, deals one of 5 element types: physical, heat, electric, cryo, or nature. Physical works very differently from the other 4, which all otherwise use the art system, but physical damage revolves around vulnerable stacks. Certain skills apply vulnerable, while others consume it for increased damage or bonus effects, and the key thing to remember is that physical status effects will not activate unless vulnerable is already present on the target. Once you understand how this setup works though, physical damage becomes so much easier to understand and manage. All elemental types, however, apply arts inflictions, which are elemental stacks placed on enemies. When 2 inflictions interact, one of 2 things can happen. If the elements are the exact same, you trigger an art burst, and if they're different, you trigger an art reaction. The most important detail here, however, is that the order of applying these matters, and this means that applying nature then heat is not the same as heat then nature, and this directly affects the outcome that you're given in game in terms of reaction. As you can see, however, Endfield is very clearly designed around multi-element teams than a mono-element setup across all different teams. Every enemy, however, also has a stagger meter, and when it fills, the enemy becomes dazed or stunned while also taking increased damage during their exhausted state. If your operator is nearby though, your next basic attack will also become a finisher, and finishers deal heavy damage and restore SP/skill points, which makes stagger one of the most important mechanics in the game. Certain weapons and gear also increase the effectiveness of your stagger, so learning to time and plan staggers properly pays off massively, especially in harder content where time and damage efficiency is very important. Operators, however, also scale off of 4 specific attributes: strength, agility, intellect, and will. Each operator has a main attribute and a secondary attribute, both of which increase their attack power, but though operators formerly had a level cap of 99, this has since been lowered to a ceiling of 90 as per the live stream. Levels also have promotion breakpoints at 20, 40, 60, and 80, and these promotions unlock passive talents and increase skill caps. Each operator, however, also has 4 combat skills that can be leveled to rank 9, followed by mastery levels, and mastery upgrades require marks of perseverance, which are limited event materials, meaning that early on you'll need to be very selective about which operators and skills you invest to, though they did announce on the live stream too that they'll be giving us more of these as well. Potentials are the dupe system in Endfield, and they're unlocked through duplicate operators and provide moderate but noticeable increases to operator performance rather than massive power spikes that drastically change how they play. Enfield's dupe system, however, feels intentionally restrictive, meaning that duplicates aren't intended to be required to make an operator viable, and with this, if you enjoy a character and expect to use them long term, potentials can be worth using for increased strength, but they are absolutely optional and not something that you need to rush for early. Now let's move to gearing in Endfield. To start, you only have 4 slots to equip items in, and good news, there's no RNG and substat rolling for these pieces. Instead, you choose which version of a gear piece to craft with the appropriate attribute and set bonus for the operator that you're trying to build, and equipping 3 matching pieces activates a set bonus with 1 extra left over for you to customize. To be clear though, non-set associated gear also exists and is great again for getting creative with your builds on that 4th slot. Weapons come with 3 traits that can be upgraded through tuning, duplicates, and essence, but essence specifically becomes much more relevant later in the game, so early on there's no need to heavily invest into one specific weapon optimization aside from just upgrading and promoting them. Gacha wise, Endfield features a beginner banner, a standard banner, and a feature banner, each functioning very differently, and admittedly there has been tons of discussion and confusion around the gacha system, so hopefully my explanation here will help you better understand what's going on. Beginner banner, known as the New Horizon banner, is capped at 40 pulls and guarantees a random 6-star operator on the 40th pull, with enough pulls provided through early story progression to complete it quickly. Once all 40 pulls are finished though, you also receive a New Horizon weapon crate that lets you select a free 6-star weapon, making pulling on this banner worthwhile even if you happen to get lucky with your pulls early and got it before 440. This standard banner, however, guarantees a random 6-star operator every 80 pulls and offers a selectable standard 6-star after 300 total pulls, but it has no rate ups and is mainly designed to collect standard characters to fill out your missing operator list. The featured or chartered banner, however, is where most players will spend their pulls and also the most confusing. This has an 80 pull hard pity for a random 6-star operator, with soft pity starting at 65 pulls, where the 6-star rate up increases by 5% per pull. With this, when you hit a 6-star, there is a 50% chance that it is the featured character, but if you lose the 50-50, the banner continues towards a one-time hard guarantee at 120 pulls that guarantees to be the featured character once per banner. Now again, this is where things get even more confusing. This 120 pull pity does not carry over between banners, even though normal pity towards a 6-star and the 80 pulls does. This also means that losing a 50-50 on one banner does not protect you on the next banner, meaning every new banner starts at a fresh 50-50. With this, if you lose a 50-50, there is a 35% chance to obtain 1 of 5 standard characters, while the remaining 15% is split evenly between 2 previously featured operators. Pulling 60 times on a featured banner also grants you a headhunting dossier that converts directly into a free 10 pull on the next featured banner, but this bonus only happens once. Additionally, after 30 pulls on a featured banner, you gain access to 10 urgent recruitment pulls, and these are bonus pulls that do not count towards pity, do not advance the 120 pull guarantee, and do not affect future guarantees, so they are completely separate from everything that you've seen and should really be treated as extra pulls rather than something that you actually plan around. Weapons are handled separately through the arsenal system, which uses arsenal tickets earned from character pulls, events, weekly routines, the credit store, the protocol pass, and by converting ore barrel or ore geometries. But each arsenal issue consists of 10 weapon pulls, and a 6-star weapon is guaranteed within 4 issues or 40 pulls, and a featured 6-star weapon is guaranteed within 8 issues or 80 pulls. Weapon pity does not carry over between banners either, but it was also announced that there will now be a 6-star selector at 100 pulls, a rate up guarantee at 180 pulls, and an alternating guarantee every 80 pulls afterwards. Now there is a lot to take in here, and there's a chance that some of what I explained may be a little bit confusing or slightly misworded, so to make things very simple, do not pull on any limited banner unless you have 120 pulls ready, and from what we've seen, pulling lightly without a guarantee is heavily punished, and building pity without committing is one of the biggest mistakes you can make, especially if you want a specific limited character. Now let's talk about plans for Enfield's early days and a few guidelines to consider before ending your first day on Talos 2. First, you should definitely spend all of your sanity to avoid overcapping for too long, and of course the sanity can be used on a variety of resources like skill materials, character promotion materials, or whatever is needed to upgrade your operators. After this, completing your dailies, completing map objectives, progressing the main story, defeating elite enemies, finishing puzzles, and claiming every manual reward should then be your next priority. But if at this point you followed these steps, you'll reach level 15 before finishing your first day comfortably, and this will set up your account for efficient progression on the days after. To be clear though, Endfield has reduced the level requirements on a number of main storyline quests, and as a result, though some of these recommendations and testing were made from closed beta 1 and 2, it's possible that they could change, of course. Beyond just dailies and day 1 questing, however, as soon as electric mining rigs are unlocked, you should definitely replace your portable mining rigs immediately. And though it's not necessarily mandatory to connect everything immediately, setting up relay towers, electric pylons, and connecting everything to a base is extremely helpful for resource management and allowing you to build within your factory without getting restricted. This, alongside changing to electric mining rigs, will allow you to accumulate resources even while AFK, and this will then create a fully automated production and gathering setup, which forms the foundation of your entire account progression, as this also plays a major part in how you create gear. Again, I cannot stress enough, though this isn't mandatory, it really would be one of the single most impactful things that you could do on day 1 if you find this to be valuable. That's going to be it for everything you need to focus on day 1 for Arknights Endfield though, and if you followed the steps from today's video, you'll be setting yourself up with a very strong foundation, avoiding many early and unnecessary setbacks. As a reminder, though a lot of this will set you up perfectly, the game is very much progressible and endlessly grindable, especially at launch, so though it's certainly possible and more than fine to take each day slowly or casually, those looking to maximize their early experience in Endfield are definitely able to do so as well. If it still feels like there's a lot to unpack here, worry not, in upcoming guides I'll be breaking down combat, rerolling, and so much more. So thanks again for watching though guys, I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, good night.